Yo, 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 how's it going, everybody? It's your boy, RedRageKnight. We're gonna talk about some cool-ass characters. And what the fuck are you doing here? What the fuck? Get out!
Well, howdy doody there, ladies and gents. I'm pretty sure you're surprised to see me here. Well, if you look down at the date, it is the day of fooling, and so I decided to take over Rage's channel for the day. Oh, and if you're wondering where he is, I've locked him in the closet with some interesting schematics to keep him entertained.
Help me!
Anyway, cool-ass characters. Something I'm sure we give the title to some of our favorite characters that we enjoy, whether it be for them being badass, cool, or just simply interesting. Now, I will say that liking characters is subjective from person to person. There could be someone who really likes one character that you might not be a big fan of, and vice versa. So, let's just respect people's opinions and move on, shall we? Okay, I know not everyone is interested in gacha games, I honestly don't blame them, but Granblue Fantasy is pretty special. While I don't recommend people to play it, it's still a gacha game. The character episodes can still be viewed and experienced on YouTube, which is how I grew to like this first character. Meet Lelia. He's a member of a group known as the Evokers, a group of people who have a pact with these magical beings called Arcarum. Each Evoker and Arcarum are based off of tarot cards, with Lelia himself being the magician and his Arcarum being the tower. Lelia himself has a unique ability called audiomancy, which allows him to store sounds in conch shells and replay them whenever he wants. Lelia is also a simple man. He believes everyone deserves to be happy. What brings him happiness? Well, it's the sound of destruction and death. His most treasured sounds are those of screams of pain and terror of the people he's killed, in pretty torturous ways. But the one thing that brings him true joy, the one thing that gives him true bliss in what helps him sleep at night, is the sound of his own death. Oh, don't worry about his well-being. He's already thought of that. He made a clone of himself to take his punishment of failing to destroy the captain, which then resulted in him being constantly killed and revived again. Yeah, some pretty weird stuff. As for the tower, try to think if the Iron Giant lost all of his guns, gained magic, and wanted to destroy stuff. Also, again, this is the thing that kills Lobelia's clone over and over again. These two are a chaotic bunch, and I love them. I will leave out some of the stuff that happens in his character episodes, because I don't want to spoil it, and I think everyone should experience them for themselves. But I will give a little bit of some of the stuff that happens. The Tales of the Arcarum episodes are like these short stories that are tied to the Evokers, and Lelia himself is a murder mystery. When they find the killer, Lelia takes his conscience into the world that he's constantly being killed in, shows the clone being killed over and over, and then walks over, places his hands right on the killer's ears, and then violently rips them off. He then shows it to the killer as like, hey, it's your ears. Aren't you happy to see your own ears? And then keeps ripping them off. Yeah, so this guy's sane. Anyway, I like Lelia because I think he's cool. He's a psychotic, audio-based masochist obsessed with destruction, and he's friends with a giant robot. How could you not like this? It's so cool. Also, side games, I know you're not watching this, but please put him in Rising. Me and a friend already made a hypothetical moveset for him, and some people already like it. Please, do it, you cowards! Alright, I do expect that there are some questions about this next entry, but I will get the first one out of the way. What the hell is Caligula? Well, to put it into a simple pitch, Hatsune Miku traps the population of Japan in a virtual world where their wishes are granted to make them happy. You and the members of your Go Home Club go from dungeon to dungeon, beating the musicians one by one until you reach the virtual doll herself and free everyone trapped. Make sense? Cool. So without further ado, Shadow Knife. Real name Daiki Yamada, he was the class punching bag. and while we don't exactly know what he was put through, we can take guesses based off of some of the stuff in his dungeon. Forced to eat rotten food, shoved in a locker and pushed down a flight of stairs, and if the anime is anything to go by, hung by the torso from a pretty high up place. Eventually, when Mew, the virtual doll, came to him promising a better life, he took it, and becomes a character from an in-universe anime, that being Shadow Knife. Now, with his superpowers, he uses it to take revenge on those who wronged him, while also becoming Mew's personal bodyguard, which is pretty neat. So, already off the bat, this guy is pinnacle a fairly typical edgy backstory, his design screams edgy teen, and his theme song is called Sin. Even with his abilities being based around shadows, this is fairly edgy. But I'm sorry, I find this dude way too cool to not like him. Also, he needs a dude's day out, and I'd be willing to give that to him. He deserves it. First, with his design, the man's skirt and shirt are a bit weird at first. I'll be willing to admit that I wasn't a big fan of them when I first saw this design. But eventually, the shirt just grew on me, and the skirt just kind of blends in. The bomber jacket is really cool, though. I'd like to wear it. Onto his abilities, shadow manipulation is already a pretty badass power. Being the ability to teleport, of course, but the ability to mess with people just with their shadows is pretty cool. And on top of that, he has an ability called Shadow Suing, where he can stun people just by sticking a special knife on their shadow. As for his song, this is one of the game's best tracks, and the fact that he canonically plays this when he enters an area is badass. Also, according to his character episodes, he makes his own episode outros as like a next time on insert anime. It's awesome. Also, I wrote down here that I didn't have him in my party when I was writing this down. I've already beaten the game. He's fun. The only thing I wish is that he'd had a skill to hit downed opponents, but that's fine. His playstyle is pretty much doing chain attacks, as in start with one attack, it goes into another attack, it goes into another attack, rinse, repeat. And if you can't tell by this gameplay, well, yeah. Also, go play Caligula. It's fun. Do it. Do it! Okay, I'll be perfectly honest. I wanted to try and stay away from the characters that, like, build my online presence. So I wanted to stay away from the characters that I mainly talk about with people. Unfortunately, I failed. And I caved in when it comes to this motherfucker. If that laugh didn't tick you off on who is going to be talked about next, well then first off, you don't know Blazblue, and second, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Heiji, and this is Yuki Tumi, my favorite villain of all time. Already checking off our boxes for edgy and psychotic because 1, look at this design, and 2, that laugh. But also with the fact that this man has performed some pretty incredible feats. He's managed to free himself from a mind control spell that he was put under, kill 2 of the 6 heroes and decommission another, manipulate someone into offing themselves with knowledge of the Azure, as well as another with showing them they could have been having a better life if Noelle didn't screw them over. Thanks. Tormented so many characters on screen and many off screen with mind games and overall brutal methods, as well as players with his stupid as fuck boss form. Manipulate Jin into cutting Ragna's arm, as well as creating the rivalry between the two that would last their entire lifetime. And finally, steal Ragna's sister, giving him a well amount of PTSD, and causing a bitter lifetime rivalry between the two as well. Terumi is the cause of so much shit in Blazblue's story, and I love him for that. Even with the vast amount of music tied to him too. Endless Despair 1 and 2, Silent Scream, Nightmare Fiction 1 and 2, and if you want to get technical, Hazma and Suzuno's music would count under this too. Any song touched by this bastard is amazing. Also, I can't talk about Terumi without mentioning the many vocal performances for him. Doug Erholtz and Eric Daves do a good job, and don't get me wrong, the entire dub is great, and I applaud every English voice actor, including the ones that we lost. But I'm sorry, you cannot touch the gold that is Yuichi Nakamura's performance for this man. I mean, listen to this!
いていてマジいてそろそろやべえんじゃねえの生きがるんじゃねえよ無駄わきまえろよてめえはもう用済みださっさとぶっ壊れろやガラクタ殺しちまうだろうがもっとだもっと俺を憎め楽しいねそんなに駆除してやんよほらゴミのよゴミをつったんだよ
I have heard that doing this voice has hurt his throat, and I do empathize with that. He shouldn't need to ruin his vocal cords just to perform a character, but in my opinion, this is a sacrifice well deserved. He's given us an amazing performance that nothing has topped, in my opinion. Not even with other games. I could talk about him more, but there's also quite a few betters that talk about Terumi a whole lot better, and I feel like you understand my love for him if it wasn't obvious that I main him, and the vast amount of Terumi-related content on my channel. But still, I will forever love this psychopathic, snaky bastard. And also, he will forever be my favorite villain. Until someone decides to step over that throne. Which, highly doubt that's gonna happen anytime soon. Well, I think I'm gonna call it there. I could talk about some other characters like Bedman and Happy Chaos, but I think 3 should be enough. That, and I'm not used to making this type of content. I'm more used to making gaming type of content, so this is stepping out of my comfort zone pretty well. Also, if you don't know who I am, name's Hedgie. I make fighting game content relating to games I like, and stream whatever I feel like streaming. Feel free to check me out. Also, subscribe to RedRageKnight. He deserves the subs. Anyway, I have some unfinished business to attend to. See ya!